Okay, welcome everybody to the first Cricket Island virtual press conference. I'm Craig Easdown and I'll be moderating this session. Now we're pleased today to be able to welcome head coach Graham Ford and captain Andrew Balbirnie to the press conference. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Morning, everybody.
A bit of housekeeping for those journalists in attendance. You're all on mute at this stage at the moment. If you have a question you'd like to ask, just raise your hand using the raise your hand icon on your toolbar in Zoom, and I'll try and come around to you as soon as I can. If we keep questions to one or two questions at a time, we'll try and get to as many people as possible. And we'll have time to circle back afterwards for more questions afterwards. Now, the squad have to get to squad photos and a training session, so we'll try and get through this as quickly as we can. So we'll start with the first question. Who would like the first question? Okay, I'll start with John Kenny. John, I'll just allow you to talk. You can unmute now, John.
Hi, guys. You hear me okay? How we doing?
Yep.
I suppose question to both of you, Graham and Andrew, whoever wants to answer first. Just how has it been since you travelled over last Saturday? What's the whole setup like?
That's a good question for the captain.
Yeah, it's been good actually. We've been very fortunate. I think Hampshire. I think we could both agree that it's probably one of the best facilities in the country. You've got the main ground just out here, out the window here, and then you have the kind of background, the back pitch, if you like, is their seconds ground, and they've got grass nets galore. So we're pretty spoiled for choice. There's an indoor school that the guys have been availing of. So yeah, it's been great. It's just been nice to kind of get some sort of routine going and get comfortable in the bubble, if you like.
You had this inter-squad game there as well, didn't you? How did that go? I saw some clips of it. It looks like it went well.
Yeah, just from my side to add to the preparation and the facilities and everything, that they're fantastic. We had a bit of a hiccup getting here, but we now really spoilt with the facilities we've got. But I guess having been in isolation in lockdown for as long as we have been, even a venue with not such great facilities would have been something special for us. So everybody's pretty highly motivated and excited and energized, which is good. And they took that energy into that inter-squad game, which was a pretty good exercise and actually a really good game of cricket. So pleased with. There were a lot of positives. Obviously, there was rustiness in the areas that we've got to shine up on, but pretty pleased overall. I don't know whether Bally wants to add to that.
Yeah, no, it was a great run out. Good game of cricket that went to the end, and it was good that kind of both teams got pretty much 50 overs under the belt, particularly in the field, and for the bowlers to kind of have those miles in the legs. That was an important part of the game, was just getting that feeling of spending three and a bit hours in the field and getting accustomed to that before you get into the more competitive games. So yeah, some good performances. Kev obviously stood out with the bat and batted really well, sort of put anchor down when we lost a few wickets and batted for pretty much the duration of the innings, which was great to see. It's a testament to the fitness that he's put in over lockdown, and the bowlers got miles in the legs, and there were a few sore bodies I think yesterday, but we've done the right things in terms of recovery, and we're back training today with a couple of days prep before the next game against the Lions.
And how about the ground itself? Happy enough with the facilities there and the pitch and the Ageas Bowl?
It's a big ground, particularly square here. It's a very big square boundary, so that took a bit of getting used to, I suppose, and setting good fields to it on the square boundaries. But yeah, like I said about the facilities, they're second to none, and you're kind of spoiled for choice, and having two grounds and as many nets as you like, and the indoor school here, and the hotel is literally just beyond the boundary. So it's very good and it's very comfortable, and I suppose more importantly it's a very safe environment. I mean, every corner you turn there's hand sanitizer and masks around the hotel and stuff like that, so it's certainly comfortable.
Okay, we'll turn to Bernard Whelan. Bernard, you're on mute. You can
hear me okay?
Yes,
you hear me okay? Great stuff. Morning, Graham. Morning, Andrew. Just a question, I suppose, for Graham, really. Your preparation in the run-up for this one-day series. We know other sports are slowly coming back to training over the last few weeks, and obviously full contact sports like rugby, they can't engage in that. How different has your training preparation been in regard to keeping within the restrictions because of the whole COVID-19 epidemic?
Yeah, I guess we've had quite a nice progression, because initially restrictions were pretty tight, and coaches could only work one-on-one with each individual player. So there was quite a lot of drill work done at that stage on artificial surfaces, etc. And we probably moved into a second phase where we were able to get outdoors and work in bigger groups, and had some pretty good sessions through that period. And this is now the third phase of getting down here and working as a big group with everybody together. The little sort of disadvantage or disruption is that with the lockdown and the regulations, blokes up north had to train on their own. They obviously had coaches there to assist them, but we weren't able to get together as a full squad. The first time we got together as a full squad was when we got here. But not that that's been a bad thing. I think everybody's been able to train at decent intensity, and like I say, everybody's highly excited and energized, which is a crucial thing when you're trying to improve your game.
And Andrew, from your own personal point of view, and obviously from the other individual players, obviously you've been doing more training in the run-up to this on an individual basis, have you?
Yeah, so I think it had maybe been 6 weeks where we had been back in terms of small groups and kind of 2 or 3 of us at a session. But I suppose prior to that, it was certainly strange and different training on our own. You know, it's obviously a team sport. Cricket is a sport where you spend a lot of time with your teammates throughout the year and throughout the summer. So there were days where motivation was definitely kind of lower than normal, but you just managed to get on with it and find other different areas to improve your fitness or your mental strength. So it certainly took a bit of getting used to, but I was delighted that, you know, when we got the green light to go ahead and get back to kind of small groups, it was nice having that interaction, because I think cricket is a unique sport where it's kind of nice to be able to talk to a lot of different people about different sort of techniques and different approaches. So it was nice to kind of get those conversations going again.
And just looking finally at the actual pitch itself at the Ageas Bowl, obviously from the test match point of view with England and the West Indies, it seemed England seemed to be able to exploit it from a batting and bowling point of view, whereas the West Indies seemed to struggle a little bit at times with it. What do you think of the pitch there? Does it look like it favours the batting side or indeed the bowling side?
Yeah, I've had a look at the one-day games that were played here last year with Hampshire and their county cricket, and it's a high enough scoring ground generally. Although it's a big ground, the wicket in the Test match was relatively slow, I think. Albeit it was the first game back, but we play so many different games around the world, and conditions are also different. And I think one of our strengths is that we can adapt quite quickly. So hopefully with another warm-up game or another competitive game on Sunday, it is against the Lions, that we can hone in on those skills again and look to expose whatever conditions there are there.
Okay, thank you. And Joe's keeping us up to date. England are 1-for-1 apparently, so thank you, Joe. Now I can only see usernames. So McKay01, is that Desi? You can unmute now, Desi. Not answering.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Can you hear me okay? It's Alvin from BBC Northern Ireland.
Oh, how are you?
How you doing, Craig? How you doing, boys? Just one thing for Graham. Just with no crowd at the ground, I mean, how much of an advantage would that be for Ireland, do you think?
Well, I'm not sure it's an advantage, but it's certainly not going to be a disruption for us, because we are pretty used to playing in, or not in front of massive crowds. Occasionally we're lucky enough to get a lot of people coming in, but it's not going to be strange for our lads. It probably for them, it's certainly going to be a bit of an issue because they're used to playing in front of crowds. The only thing I can really throw in is a little bit of a concern that the sort of background, the seating and etc. is either cream or white, and you've got a white ball and an empty stadium, so the background for fielders, that might be a challenge. Other than that, I don't think we're going to have any motivational issues or anything, and in a way it might just help settle the nerves of some of our younger guys as well by not having a crowd screaming at them. So I'm not saying it's an advantage, but it's certainly not a setback.
Okay. Just for yourself again, please, Graham. Just with, are you concerned about the development of the team, partly because of COVID, but also because of the financial restraints on Cricket Ireland? It means you're missing out on a lot of matches.
Yeah, without doubt concerned, because I really had a feeling that there was a lot of good progress being made. The tour to the Caribbean certainly showed that there was real progress, and a number of younger players were starting to really kick on. And the recent trip, again, the Afghan series in India, there's a lot of good stuff going on as well. So I really felt that it was a group that was growing and developing, and we were so looking forward to the highly competitive and busy season ahead that we were supposed to have before the COVID-19 unfortunately set us back. So it is a blow to our progress, and I guess it's a bit of a restart now. And people may well say, well, other teams are in the same situation, but I think if you've played 70 ODIs and you have a layoff and you have to start again, it's easier than if you've played 6 or 7 ODIs and suddenly you've got to come back into that sort of level of cricket. So it will be a little bit, or it is a little bit more of a setback, I think, for us. But at the same time, excited about the future and the way some of our younger players are starting to develop their games.
Okay. Just obviously on the chances against England, obviously they're world champions. Is there any sort of areas that you think Ireland can exploit, any weaknesses in their team?
I think we've obviously got to try and apply the basics as well as possible. We've got a bit of a blueprint as to what our game plan looks like. And we've certainly shown in the previous ODI at Malahide and in the test match that we can give them a fright. That's not really what we want to do. We want to be winners, and I believe that we can be that. But there are a few little elements that we may have to work on. I don't really want to go into that now, but there are a few things that we might be able to see in terms of just the psychological side of things and the pressure that they've got, because certainly it's a potential banana skin game for them. They can't afford to lose to us. They'll take a lot of flack if they do. And yeah, a few little issues of perhaps egos and things that we can work on. But I wouldn't want to go into the media and talk about those sort of things that we want to try and exploit. So yeah, we're quietly thinking about a few things, but probably the most important thing is that we get our game in place and really put good basics in place. If we put good basics in place, you're always creating pressure.
Okay, we'll move to Ollie Thorpe. Ollie, you can unmute now.
Hi, Graham. This is obviously the start of a new World Cup cycle. We're going into this new Super League competition. What are your thoughts on that? And also, what are your hopes and goals for this process as we go towards India 2023?
Well, it's quite a difficult question to answer with so much uncertainty, and right, we've got these 3 matches and we don't know when we're going to play again, and just how much of the whole World Cup league will actually operate, and when it will operate, and how many of the fixtures may get cancelled. So all of that's a little concerning. I think for us, though, we definitely want to try and beat some of the big teams and win some of the games against them. We're looking at trying to grow a unit that can really go toe to toe with some of those big teams, and we're not just going to try and be part of the show. We want to go toe to toe with the chance of winning those games. Most importantly, is we want to be in the top echelon come the end of the whole process, and that means having to win some games against big teams.
And it's been a while since you guys have played cricket. I think it was January in the West Indies. Have people been a bit rusty coming back, or have you been impressed with the standard so far?
It's a bit of both, really. There is a bit of rustiness. I think the guys have worked really, really hard in the nets and all looking in reasonably good touch. It is another thing taking that out into the game situation, and as you rightly point out, we've just had no match time. Looking at the game the other day, there were moments that were pretty pleasing and impressive, but there were also moments that showed a bit of rust and a bit of having not been in a match situation for a while. So it's something that we've got to keep working on, and we've got the game against the Lions, which will hopefully sharpen the guys up a little bit more. But pleasingly, a lot of guys spent a good amount of time in the middle in the inter-squad game, and that's all we can hope for, is that we take an 11 out there that are all in pretty good form and pretty confident with their game.
It is a squad of 22, of course. Are all 22 in contention of starting next Thursday, or have you got an 11 set at this stage?
We certainly haven't got an 11, but all 22 are not in contention. There are some that know that they're here to develop their skills and develop their game, and a really good chance to have a couple of weeks of intense training. But there are probably 16 or so that are in contention. We're fairly close, I guess, to the squad of 14. It's always going to be tough, and it's going to be whatever decisions we make is going to be really tough on those couple that are close to the team and miss out, because we've just got so little information and evidence to really go on with no matches having been played for a while.
We're going to go to Matt at Quick Info.
Hi guys, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
To Andy, first of all, if I can, England are obviously missing some big players, particularly, I guess, Butler and Stokes in the middle order. Is it fair to say that makes it sort of particularly important to take early wickets and expose some of the inexperience?
It's a good point. I think obviously those two in the middle order have been kind of standout players for England over the last number of years. Look, they're a world-class outfit, and they've still got world-class players in their team. They've got a really strong top order, and I think obviously against these big teams, early wickets are vital no matter who you're playing. But I suppose particularly first game of the series, it's almost like a statement if we can take early wickets in that first game and really set the ball rolling. But they've got a really strong squad here, and there's a list of names there that have done very well at county cricket and have done well at international cricket. So look, we've no doubt we're going in as underdogs, but we're also they've played as many games as we have this summer, so we're going in with a clean slate, and hopefully we're sort of building our momentum nicely towards that first game.
Yeah, and one of their other strengths over the past 4 or 5 years, I suppose, has been the two spinners, and Moeen and Rashid. You guys have obviously played against a lot of top quality spinners, especially against Afghanistan in recent years. Do you feel like those experiences stand you in good stead?
Yeah, I think so. That's probably one of the benefits of playing Afghanistan so often is that you do get the opportunity to play against world-class spinners on a regular basis, and you get to learn different things and learn how to play them in different scenarios. So look, I think as a squad we tend to play spin pretty well, but it's slightly different, playing spin in India to playing spin in England. It doesn't turn as drastically here, so it's just small little deviations and variations. So look, Adil Rashid's been in amazing form for England in one day internationals, and he's been a bit of a, probably one of the first names they pick in that side. So look, they're both going to be a threat. Moeen with the bat as well, as he was in a bit of form the other day. So look, we're going to have to be at our best to beat this England team. We've no doubt about that. But I'm confident from what I've seen that we can put in a really, really strong performance over the 3 games.
And just one last one to Graham, if I can. One of the sort of weaknesses, I suppose, that we saw for England's batting lineup in the World Cup was against left-arm seamers. Josh Little obviously did well against England on debut last time. Do you feel like he's got a big role to play in this series?
Yeah. The important thing is that if he's executing his skills really well, then we'll put him out there. It's no good just picking somebody because the opposition have a perceived weakness against that type of bowling, and he's gone quite nicely. I would like to see him just step it up a little bit before we start thinking about selection. But nice to know that we've got that sort of variation to our attack, and he's a really exciting prospect. So it's good to have him fit again and going pretty well, and certainly playing with some real desire to achieve. So we'll have to wait and see. We've got a couple of days before we nail down a final 11, but he'd certainly be very close.
We'll swing back to John Kenny. John?
I suppose in terms of what we can expect from the pitch, Andy, I know I asked this before, but maybe you could just enlighten us. Do you think it's going to be slightly slower than, and that might be advantageous from Ireland's point of view?
I suppose the only cricket we've seen on this wicket has been that Test match, and it was a bit on the slow side. The wicket we played on the other day was a touch slow. That didn't offer that much for the bowlers. So I think pace off historically has done quite well here with the big square boundaries. I think the game on Sunday will probably be a better wicket than what we played the inter-squad game. So that might give us maybe a better view on what we're going to get from the one-day games. But yeah, look, it's going to be a pretty good wicket to bat on it. Not that much pace than I would have thought, but we're a week off, and the weather's been really good here, which has obviously made conditions quite dry, but that can change in a week, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Have you been working on that white background on the white ball?
Yeah, that was a good point. But 40, it was certainly that game the other day with the inter-squad game. It does take a bit of getting used to, but we've got a week of prep that we can make sure that we hone in with that, and make sure guys are comfortable and getting there almost their eyes in when fielding, because like Graham said, it can be tricky when there's no crowd. It can be tricky when there is a crowd, but it's just something you grow accustomed to. It's definitely white ball on cream and white seats will be tricky, but we've got enough time to kind of make sure that we can't use that as an excuse.
All right, thanks, Andy.
Cheers.
Back to Bernard.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe Graham starting off again, I suppose relaunching the whole cricket scene and international series. Is it more difficult against a team like England, who are world champions, or is it a good thing to be starting off to use these 3 games as a benchmark to see what kind of progress you are making and maybe need to make for the future? Is it a good thing to be starting against the world champions, do you think?
Well, it certainly doesn't come tougher. And I guess that is a good thing to gauge where we're at. And if we get through these 3 games and we acquitted ourselves pretty well, then there's a hell of a lot to be excited about. But really, to answer your question, I actually couldn't bother who we're playing against right now, as long as we're playing. So any opposition out there, any international opposition would be fine. They all come with their different challenges. I just like to think that there can be no greater excitement and no greater challenge and motivating challenge than playing against the best so-called champions of the world. So we've got everything to really get stuck into and throw everything that we've got into these games, and hopefully we come out really well, and we'll know come the end of it that we're certainly can put some of the other opposition that we play after this. We can certainly put them under a lot of pressure if we come through this well.
Okay, thank you.
And back to Ollie.
Hi, Graham. Sorry, just me again. One thing we heard last week or recently was that the T20 World Cup has been postponed. Can I just a word on how disappointing that was? Obviously, it was the right thing to do, but just a word on maybe how frustrating that is, and how disappointed maybe are.
Yeah, very disappointed. But the whole world's gone so crazy, and one fully understands why it's happened. But I think everybody in our group was really excited and looking forward to that opportunity, and we've done a lot of planning for the preparation of the World Cup, the T20 World Cup. But we've got to put that on hold. I think it probably goes back to what I was speaking about earlier, about the fact that we really felt we were making progress and we were building quite a nice team, and we would have effectively would have had a year or so to really get ourselves ready for that T20 World Cup. And we had a lot of good cricket coming our way, really good cricket coming our way, which would have given us a chance to improve players, but also assess players and understand players, how they handle those sort of high quality opposition. So we've missed out on all of that, which is a bit of a setback, but it is what it is. And we've got to get stuck in and do as much as we can, as positively as we can from here on. And what I'm seeing around the group, that's exactly what's happening. So pretty satisfied with where we're going under the circumstances.
Does that lack of cricket worry you moving forward?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think you could speak to any one of the players. They're desperate to play, and there's nothing like form in the middle. You can spend the hours in the nets, but it's match time that really sharpens you up. And particularly, as I mentioned earlier, with quite a number of exciting young players who are inexperienced, and you can't buy experience. That only comes from getting out there and playing. And we've got to be honest and accept that the step up from club cricket and into pro cricket into international cricket is pretty huge. So all of that is worrying and is concerning, but some of it's kind of out of our control, and what we can control is how we go about our business in training and how we support each other. I think one of the strengths of the group is that there really is a family feel about it, and they do care for each other, and that can go a long way to making us competitive.
Okay, the next question is coming from Gerard Mulroney. For Andrew, how excited are you to be leading the first Irish national team back in action as captain?
Yeah, it's hugely exciting. I think I've said before, I didn't think we'd be playing any international cricket this year whatsoever. So to be doing that against the world champions in England is massive. It'll be my first time captaining overseas in England. I obviously did it at the start of the year. So yeah, it's a huge honour. Still yet to captain at home, which is disappointing, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a great buzz around. I think, even though there's not, it is different. Not having anyone here, friends or family or anything like that. Hopefully with not all that much Irish live sport on the telly at the moment, particularly international sport. Hopefully, we can do something special to inspire a few people to go down to their local cricket club and take up the game and to produce a performance that got me wanting to play cricket and stuff like that when I was younger. So we've got a great opportunity on our hands here, and I just hope that everyone here realizes that, and when we go out and perform, we've got that sort of at the back of our head as well as trying to win games cricket.
Okay, I've got a couple more questions. Bobby Sawbrig. You can unmute. Yep.
Right, here I am, yeah. I just have one question. At the intra-squad match that you played the other day, it was noticeable that Paul Sterling and Mark Adair weren't involved. Are there any concerns around them, or is everything good with those guys?
Yeah, there are some concerns. Paul, I think probably more precautionary. He has had a little calf niggle, which he has a history of having a bit of a calf issue. On the first training or the first sort of fitness session, he sort of aggravated that calf a little bit. So we've kind of kept him out of the action a little bit. He's done a lot of work in the indoor centre and hit a lot of balls, but no real running around. And we felt it would have been it would have been silly of us to put him out in that game. So he is making good progress. He did have, even though yesterday was a recovery day, he did have a net session, and he seems to be going pretty well. So we're very hopeful that he'll be fine going forwards. Mark Adair is probably a little bit more of a mystery. He had surgery on his ankle. We hoped that was going to sort of see him as being 100% ready to fire on all cylinders when he got here. He's still experiencing some discomfort, and probably up until now hasn't been able to bowl at full intensity. We're very fortunate to have that our team doctor is actually the surgeon who operated on him. So he's handling him and doing his best to try and get him back to operating at full intensity. But it's kind of something that we've got to take one day at a time. So we will have to see. But yes, both of them are concerns. Probably Sterlo less than Mark, but we're lucky that we've got a really good quality medical team here to monitor those two situations.
Okay, thank you.
And the last one from Ollie.
No, sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
I get a lower hand. Okay.
Thanks.
Bobby, do you want to ask the last one?
No, I'm just wondering what the situation is regarding, and I think the questions have all already been asked that I had to ask. My only ones were about those two guys and were there any concerns. But apart from that, I think with the squad that you have there, you can do a job for us, and just wish you all the very, very best of luck. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I got one last one. Sorry about that. Peter, I'm not sure. Peter? You can unmute, Peter.
Yeah. Hi, I'm just wondering, do you expect Paul to play on Sunday against the Lions?
Yeah, I'm not trying to avoid having to make a decision or not give you an answer right now. Hello, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a decision that we'll make in the next 2 days. So he'll train again today, and I'm hoping that there'll be more positive news. We definitely want him to play, but at the same time, we're not going to take any unnecessary risks on he's just so important to us. So we'll monitor that over the next 2 days.
Thanks, Graham.
Righto, we'll wrap it up there. We've got a very busy day for the guys. Thank you for attending the press conference. I just want to launch a poll for journalists just to get a sense of feedback. So if you can fill that in, that would be fantastic. Thank you for attending the press conference. Thank you to Graham and Andrew for joining us this morning.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your support.
Good luck, fellas.
Yeah.
The best of luck. Thanks, Craig.
No worries. And thank you to our sponsors, ITW, MPL and Skoda. Farewell for now. If Fordy and Andrew can stay on the call for a second, that would be great. Thank you.